Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here, and today we're back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay. Today we've got ourselves a Terran versus Zerg on the map Dusk Towers. So, without further ado, spawning down in the bottom left-hand side of this map, it is the blue Terran player playing for Team Root. It is Kelazhur. And his opponent, the red Zerg, playing for Team Euronics Gaming. It is the red Zerg, Nerchio. So today we've got ourselves a Terran versus Zerg on this larger single spawn map here, and by single spawn I mean there's only one possible spawning set, which means the players know where each other are. Now, just because they know where each other are doesn't mean they're going to be exactly, busting out the cheeses here, as this is one of the more safer maps here, as there is that pocket expand here, which the Zerg doesn't get as much benefit from. Nerchio and most other Zergs on this map have trended towards taking the farther out base. I guess they just like to start mining out at the front more. They like to have this sort of control so they can control the units coming in and out easier, I guess. And the back of this base is very susceptible to a Liberator harass if a Liberator gets back here, or just drops in general. So it's not the largest difference in the world, however it is a small difference here, and as expected on this map we're just seeing a very standard build coming out of these players here. Kelazhur going for that command center after his Reaper, so Reaper expand, meanwhile Nerchio getting up this hatchery before his spawning pool. So very standard macro builds here. They could deviate here, we could see some aggression coming out of one of these two players, but considering the map it's not so likely here. This game could go for quite a while here. So, spawning pool just finishing up for Nerchio. His overlord's moving across the map, trying to see what's going on here. Kelazhur now, though, just moving out with this Reaper. Nerchio will see that, so Nerchio knows exactly what's on Kelazhur's side of the map now. He knows it's just the one Reaper for the expand, which is so common on this map. Although, now we see Kelazhur following this up with a reactor here. This is interesting. Here. He's likely going to swap this out, and I assume he's going to lift this off and build Hellions. He might make 2 Marines and get some Hellions. But, oh, here we go. This is where Kelazhur's starting to sort of change things up a bit. Going for this fast third command center, and this is incredibly fast by all means. Before factory, before second gas. So Kelazhur going very, very macro-oriented here. So assuming he gets away with this, he's going to have an insane economy. His third command center is actually going up before the Zerg's third hatchery, and Zerg is usually the race which gets up the faster third base here. However, Kelazhur knows this map. He knows he's so safe from most kinds of aggression, so he's happily just going to start teching away here. Well, teching away by getting a third command center. So Kelazhur is going to be playing this for the late game here. We now see Stim Pack. So early third command center, early Stim. Very little production for Kelazhur here. He is aiming for the late, very powerful mid game, really, once he has his third command center up and gets his production up. The Reaper's still alive. It's gotten 1 kill here. Just 1 Zergling kill. And now it's just poking in and out, trying to see if it can get any scouting information. But he's seen Kelazhur has seen the hatchery positioning. He doesn't know that there's a back hatchery here, but he can really assume. And he might scan later on to confirm this, or suicide the Reaper, but it seems that the Reaper was actually cleaned up there by those Zerglings. So, Kelazhur not aware of Nerchio's third base. However, you can generally guess with a Zerg that they will be going up to a third base. Nerchio, though, not aware of Kelazhur's... Oh, he is aware, never mind. So Nerchio knows exactly the situation he's in. So Nerchio, very good scouting information there, can actually play it very greedy in this game now. He's gotten up a Roach Warren, and he's actually built 2 Roach Warrens here. Either this is going to be a Roach Burrow build here, or oh, never mind, that was an Evo chamber. It just didn't unselect the Roach Warren. Okay, completely disregard what I said. My mistake there. I think it had the 1 Roach Warren selected, then clicked and dragged and must have missed or something. So I assume that was another Roach Warren. Never mind. Pardon me. Anyway, Nerchio can macro up very happily here. He's seen the third command center for Kelazhur, so he knows, okay, there's not going to be much aggression coming out of here, for now at least. Kelazhur's Stim is getting up here. He is getting up 2 Medivacs, and he's doing the standard Terran thing, which they move out quickly with Stim, and this is actually such a strong build, because if the Zerg isn't prepared, you can get some nasty damage done. as a Terran player. So now, Nerchio opting to get this armor for his roaches here. Not necessarily deciding if he wants to commit to roach attack, so this means he could be wanting to tech into melee later on. Now throwing up a second Evo, so we'll see what he decides. He's actually making quite a few lings here. Now just getting up his lair here. So Nerchio is really just macroing away here, but Kelazhur is dropping these mules. He's had this third command center up for a while. He's producing 3 SCVs at a time. Kelazhur has been completely unpunished here, and they're on even bases, and Kelazhur is actually almost on even workers as Nerchio. Nerchio right now producing though 10 drones, not gonna let that lead, well, gonna keep that worker lead. He's getting up Ravagers here to clear up any drops, I assume, as he did see that stim timing. He saw these Marines here. Kelazhur actually stimming in the wanting, hoping to catch a 4th base, but Nerchio not throwing that up yet. And now Nerchio's teching into this melee here. He is getting roach speed, so he will be staying on these roaches and Ravagers for a bit for his main defense, and then he'll likely tech into ultras from here on out. This is actually what Nerchio used to beat Pult in WCS, another very great Terran player. So we're going to see how Kelazhur can deal with this. So Kelazhur pushing in, picking off a Ravager, and then lifting off and getting out. So just getting any damage he can done there. And I don't think he lost a Marine. He might have actually lost maybe 2 Marines there, but worth it for picking off a Ravager here. Now Kelazhur has these 2 Hellions he's created, just sharking around, trying to catch any Zerglings or anything that are moving out. Nerchio is getting up that 4th base now. Meanwhile, Kelazhur's just happily been mining off this 3rd command center here. He's almost fully saturated, so great income for Kelazhur here. He's actually ahead because of the mules, and he's going to have very, very scary macro here. If we look at the supply, it's very close, and that's not very good for Nerchio considering he's producing lings. He's producing roaches, which are not very supply-efficient units, so Kelazhur's army will be arguably much, much better than Nerchio's. Although Nerchio getting up lots of spore crawlers and defense here, doesn't want to be dropped here. Kelazhur actually dropped in the top over here, but that was pushed back by the spore crawler and a few units. Trying to drop over at the 3rd base, but not really getting anything done. He can unload here and try to kill off this creep here, which is very important for a Terran player. As on this map, once creep gets all over, it is very, very terrifying. So Nerchio wants to try and get this creep sword back out. He's now pushing out with the roaches, going to catch off these 2 Hellions. However, Kelazhur is making such good work with these medivacs. He's just picking up units, dropping anywhere he can, abusing the mobility here. Abusing the mobility by just pushing in everywhere with these units. Though it seems that Kelazhur is going to come back here. Starting to get up a scary army, though. Kelazhur's even on army supply with the Zerg, and the Zerg, Nerchio, is building up lots of roaches, and he's making so many Zerglings here. Let's take a look here. He's got 50 Zerglings, but 43 Marines can beat 50 Zerglings, so it's going to be up to these infestors, as Nerchio has got an infestation pit. I'm not sure if he got pathogen glands. We can take a look here. He does not have, oh yes, he did not have pathogen glands on those infestors, so they are going to have to build up energy very slowly. Nerchio getting up to hive, so he will be able to get up an ultralisk cavern very quickly here, but Kelazhur's coming in to push, and he's going to try to do damage to Nerchio while he is unprepared. And Kelazhur needs to be careful though, because of this fungal growth could deal some terrible damage here. If it manages to lock down this army, this could be lights out for Kelazhur. However, there's simply so much bio here for Kelazhur. He's going to try to push in, although Nerchio now morphing in, what, 10 Ravagers there? That is an absurd amount. However, bio versus Ravagers, assuming he doesn't eat fungal growth and corrosive biles, he will be able to take a decent fight. Kelazhur moving in very well split up here, just slowly pushing forward with these siege tanks, keeping on the pressure on Nerchio. However, Kelazhur can't really just afford to keep the pressure on. He needs to do some damage here, as he's not necessarily teching. He is getting up a 4th command center, however, he is going to be just on this bio, and Nerchio is going to be getting up these ultralisks here. Now, another important fact here is Nerchio is on +2 Carapace, and he does have Zergling melee upgrades. However, Kelazhur's 2-2 is finishing up here now, and these Ravagers won't have a plus attack upgrade, so they won't be doing too much damage here, but corrosive biles still deal lots of damage to the bio of Kelazhur. However, Kelazhur's bio army is still staying very strong. He's kept the siege tanks alive, and now this bio army is sort of being pulled apart here. However, there's so much left. The bio can trade very efficiently with these Raptors, however, there's simply so much coming out of Nerchio here. And Kelazhur is forced to lift off here. Fortunately, no anti-air here. But Kelazhur is forced backwards, and it seems that these two siege tanks might be picked off. No, Kelazhur lifts them off. He's going to retreat to his 4th command center. He needs to keep that alive. But now Kelazhur is going to be in a very tough situation here, as Nerchio is getting up plenty of Roaches and Ravagers, but more importantly, he has kept those Roaches and Ravagers alive, and that bought him time to get to these Ultras. Nerchio is very happy. He didn't need to kill Kelazhur right there, as he's been the one who's teching. He's gotten up these Ultras. He's getting up more Infestors. This Bio army is not going to be able to fight versus this army. The Ultras do not yet have Chitinous Plating, so if Kelazhur is going to take a fight, now would actually be a good time. So if he can shave off a few Ultras here, it will be very effective. Look, these Ultras take damage quite quickly to Bio before they have all their upgrades, so Kelazhur going to try to focus these down. But Chitinous Plating going to be finishing up here soon. Pathogen Glands going to be finishing up here soon. This army of Nerchio is just going to get so scary. And now we see this Chitinous Plating is in fact finished up in about a second here. And Nerchio is just going to be able to steamroll through this bio here. And Fungal Growth can catch these Medivacs, but Kelazhur does manage to pick off and get away with this bio once again. However, Kelazhur is down in supply here. If we look here, Kelazhur is down at 140 to 200 supply of Nerchio. Nerchio's just happily been teching to this scary army here. Kelazhur has lots of siege tanks, which can deal with the Roaches and Ravagers. However, these Ultralisks, which are just siege breakers, can just destroy all this army for Kelazhur. So he's going to need to tech, and we actually see Kelazhur is going to be going into mass Liberators here. He's getting up a fusion core, he's getting up more starports, and this is how Kelazhur is going to try to deal with this. Kelazhur's accepted the fact that he didn't kill Nerchio, that he hasn't been able to kill Nerchio, so what's he going to do? He's going to drop. He's going to start teching on his side of the map while the drops keep Nerchio occupied. He's getting up 2 more command centers here, likely 1 for a planetary and 1 to float over here. This 5th base of Kelazhur is creeped up though, however, he is going to be dropping here, but these Zerglings are there to meet it. One of these Medivacs might be going down here as the Queen focusing it down, but it does survive. But no damage being done there for Kelazhur. Now he is pushing in on the right side of the map as the army of Nerchio was split up. However, Nerchio split his army perfectly. These Ultralisks will be able to push his army back. However, Kelazhur moving in with this fast bio force, and it actually manages to cancel the 4th base. No, the 5th base of Nerchio, so very nice pick off there by Kelazhur, not losing too many units for a very good trade. However, these Medivacs are not getting too much damage done, so Kelazhur is going to need to rely very heavily on these Liberators. And ooh, this is interesting, we actually see a Nidus on the way for Nerchio. He's actually Nidus the main base of Kelazhur, however, so many Liberators for Kelazhur here are going to siege up this Nidus. If anything comes out, it is going to be in trouble. Ultralisks are in fact spewing out here. The Liberators dealing some very good damage, actually killing off 2 of them, but the 2 Ultralisks are in the main of Kelazhur, so he's going to have a hard time dealing with this. SCVs are starting to go down to these Ultralisks. Liberators sieging up, trying to kill these off. However, Liberators are hard to kill specific units and chase them down, but Nerchio does stay in that liberation zone and is bleeding off units. However, Nerchio is now pushing on the front base of Kelazhur. However, he is pushing into so many siege tanks in the planetary, but throwing down infested Terran, spending all these infestor energy. But it seems that Kelazhur is going to hold this. He might lose a command center here, but he's already secured a 5th base. He's kept this other base alive, and Nerchio lost all his infestors. He bled off so much Roaches and Ravagers, and he lost lots of units to the siege tanks and Liberators. Now we see Kelazhur dropping on this side of the map. Yes, the Medivacs were cleaned up by these Corruptors, which Nerchio has been teching into. However, he did lose some Corruptors there, and he lost a fair few drones to that drop. So Kelazhur took a very good fight considering his situation here. Not much damage being done to Kelazhur. He's secured the 5th base. He does need to transfer SCVs to it though as soon as he can, particularly from this 3rd base here. And he could also drop a fair few mules. However, right now, Kelazhur has just got such a high Liberator count here. If we look at the units, he's got 8 Liberators, and what's there to deal with this? 2 Corruptors, a few Infestors, and some Ravagers. That's not really enough to deal with this many Liberators. Now we see Nerchio teching into Broodlords here. However, these Corruptors are a large portion of his anti-air here, so he's going to be getting less anti-air. So these Liberators are going to be so scary, and Infestor might get picked off here. It gets down a Fungal, however, not connecting, not the most amazing Fungal considering how the Medivacs are going to siege us up now. Nerchio pushing into this liberation zone. So many infested Terrans were thrown down, so he might be able to start picking these off. Infested Terran gonna start focusing down the Liberators, and he actually seemingly does manage to kill all of the ground army for Kelazhur. However, these Liberators are left, but Kelazhur keeping them sieged, and these two Corruptors are just starting to pick them off, so all these Liberators going down. Nerchio has dropped in supply, however, Kelazhur has dropped plenty in supply here. Now we see Kelazhur only just transferring SUVs, but right as Nerchio is going to push into this 5th base, Kelazhur is going to need to defend this. But I'm not sure he's going to be able to. We see so much bio is all that Kelazhur has right now, and this planetary does go down. Kelazhur is going to have no choice but to kite versus these very, very tanky Ultras here. So Nerchio is going to be pushed back. He's going to lose 2 Ultras there. However, well, he might actually lose a 3rd Ultra, but Kelazhur lost 14 SCVs. He lost a base, so Kelazhur is really going to need to float over a command center to reestablish his bases. His economy is shot. His bio is over-stimmed now. Very few medivacs, and so an Infestor shot and these Broodlords are gonna be a lot of trouble for Kelazhur to deal with. He's still down in supply. He's taken great engagements, but if you look at the worker count, he's fallen behind. If you look at the income, he is actually ahead right now because of the power of mules. He's actually dropped so many mules here. 9 mules on the map right now for Kelazhur, so he's gonna stay sort of on even ground with Nerchio, but the longer this game goes on without securing another base, he's gonna be in trouble. So now we see Kelazhur's deciding, okay, I gotta do some counter damage here, and this is a cool move for the Terran player. Moving out with the Liberators here, moving out with the Medivacs. He's gonna drop and siege up likely the main base of Nerchio. However, there's Spore Crawlers here. So Kelazhur's gonna be hard pressed to get some damage done. And Nerchio's actually moving back with some units here as he's going to go for another Nidus play. Kelazhur dropping in right on top of this, and there's Ultras inside this Nidus worm. Now they're going to start popping out as Nerchio's pulling them out to defend. And look at this surprise Ultra popping outside of that Nidus worm. One of the Ultras is going to go down, but Kelazhur losing all this bio, all the Medivacs, and all the Liberators for a few Zerglings and Ultralists. Oh, 1 Marauder's actually left, but 2 Zerglings are going to clean that up. Kelazhur doing this 1-2 punch again, once again, gonna try to start to pick off some bases of Nerchio. However, a great fungal growth coming down from Nerchio here. All this bio for Kelazhur going down. He's gonna try to trade the best he can, but trading with free units from Broodlords doesn't really work, and the Corruptor count for Nerchio is just so high right now. Kelazhur's kept a fair bit of this bio left, but meanwhile Nidus is going off into his main base, but there's only 2 Zerglings in there right now, so these Marines will clean that up. Kelazhur moving in with the bio, trying to get any damage he can done, focusing down drones, trying to harm the economy of Nerchio. But it seems that every setback that Kelazhur has given Nerchio, he's taken an even blow, and arguably worse, as Kelazhur's now down to an under 100 supply at 86. Nerchio's fallen in supply too. Both these players don't have the best economies. However, Kelazhur is much worse, and Nerchio's reaching this scary Broodlord comp. So Kelazhur is going to need either a mass Liberators to deal with this Broodlord army or some Vikings. But really, there's not much of a way he can deal with this, so his only choice is going to be try to outposition Nerchio, and this is very tough for the Terran player to do. This Overlord being cleaned up as Kelazhur doesn't want another Nidus in his base. Kelazhur finally securing this 5th base once again, so his economy will start to catch up with all these mules. He does have these 3 orbitals still, so he can drop mules for days. However, mined out his 3rd base, mined out his natural base, mined out his main base, starting to mine out his 4th base. So Kelazhur in a very tough income spot. Once again, though, these mules keeping him in the game. Kelazhur gonna try to drop around with this bio, however, Nerchio, and by drop I mean try to kill off a few Overlords, but Nerchio's so good on it, moving these Overlords out of the way. One of them will go down, however, he could have lost 3 there if he hadn't moved them. Now we just see Nerchio's content with teching again. He's content with getting up his army, reaching a high supply, and then likely moving across the map to kill Kelazhur. As he's building so many Corruptors, he's getting upgrades for these Corruptors. He has actually 2 Spires right now, getting up high upgrades for these Corruptors. Meanwhile, Kelazhur is only just starting ship weapons for these Liberators and Corruptors, so, well, Liberators and Vikings, so he's not going to be able to challenge the air army of Nerchio, which is just so terrifying. He's got 13 Corruptors, which is a lot compared to just 8 Vikings and 5 Liberators. And Kelazhur's going to be very hard pressed to come back into this game. He's managed to survive this long, but he's really going to need to start turning the tide here. So, and the way he's going to do this is try to get off another drop. However, Corruptors and Lings moving in to intercept this. He might pick off another Overlord, and yes, he does. However, Nerchio, he needs to be very, very careful. Kelazhur, just in such a tough situation here, and we actually saw another Nidus coming in here for Nerchio. This drop coming back to secure this, but the one Ultralisk in here is going to start trying to chew through the bio. This bio is trying to deal with this, however, this one Ultralisk is just starting to chew through it. Kelazhur losing lots of units to this Ultralisk, getting to 10 kills before it dies, definitely worth it. The Nidus Worm is cleaned up, however, and Nerchio pushed onto this command center. Well, this Planetary Fortress once again, so he does lose a few units there. Actually, another Ultras, but look at this great Fungals coming down for Nerchio, and he's just taking down all the Vikings for Kelazhur. Kelazhur's Viking count is just dropping Fungal after Fungal, killing off the anti-air. That is Kelazhur's only hope, to kill off these Broodlords, so the Broodlords are here to stay, and now Kelazhur is in an even worse situation than before. Still only just mining off this 5th base here, as this 4th base is getting closer and closer to mining out. Kelazhur, I think he needs to move right and try to drop his base as much as he can, but even then, Nerchio has such a terrifying army with these Broodlords and Infestors. This is a throwback to Wings of Liberty right here. So now we see these Broodlords moving in here once again, Corruptors supporting him. Kelazhur can't fight this army, but he's gonna try, but you cannot fight into Infestors and Corruptors here. The Broodlords will just tie up all your units, and there's still so much fungal left for Nerchio. Kelazhur is going to have to try and take this fight, but he loses the base here. He's pushed back and back. He's building lots of Vikings at a time, 4 at a time here. However, there's so many Corruptors here. He's bleeding off units, and he doesn't really have a way to deal with this many Corruptors. How many Corruptors is this? This is 18. This is so much, enough to just absolutely shred through the few Vikings. The bio can try to kill these Broodlords. However, once they move in, they're just being absolutely swarmed by all these Zerglings here. Fungal growth's going down, and that whole army of Kelazhur is just falling. And GG is going to be called. Well played, as Nerchio takes the game, just managing to hold off all of the aggression coming out of Kelazhur here. So great game by Nerchio, managing to stay alive there. Kelazhur tried to punish Nerchio, and he sort of pulled him apart there, but it simply was just not quite enough to take the game there. So thank you guys for watching. This has been another StarCraft 2 1 vs 1 cast. I know it's been another Terran versus Zerg. However, I saw this game and figured I just have to cast it. I'll try to get some of the other races next, as I think this is my 3rd Terran versus Zerg in a row. However, regardless, if you enjoyed the casting, feel free to let me know. Maybe leave a like, subscribe, as I'm always putting out new content. If you also have feedback for my casting, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, see you guys next time.